time now to set aside the noise of the day. Let your shoulders fall, unclench your jaw, soften your brow, and close your eyes if you haven't already. Feel the air around you. Perhaps a window is slightly cracked. A hush of night breeze curls through the room like Parchment being turned into a quiet library. Let it move through you. Cool, clean, still. Let your breath grow slower, longer, like the soft drawing of a feathered quill across a blank page in and out, like ink soaking into handmade vellum. Good, you're safe, you're wrapped in hush. And our story tonight drifts in gently on candlelight. Our story begins in the heart of a most-stripped monastery nestled deep in the forested hills of Albion, far from roads, far from voices, just stone, wood, and the hush of holy work. In this sacred space is a scriptorium, a long, narrow room, open only 2 flickers of sun by day, and by night, warmed by hearth and waxlight. Its stone walls are lined with desks of carved oak, inkwells tucked into little hollows, quills sharpened to whisper fine points. Hear the monks ride! They illuminate. And tonight, one monk is awake longer than the rest. Brother Thaddeus. He moves with the quiet of candle flame, cloaked in robes of undyed wool, the color of soft ash. He does not speak. He has taken the vow of stillness sworn many a look. For when the lips are silent, the hand listens better to the soul. He lights a beeswax taper with practiced keys. The flame dances softly. Its golden flicker touches jars of pigment, powdered sapphire, ground malachite, and the deepest red of vermilion made from crushed cinnabar, locked behind a silver stopper. Thaddeus takes his seat at the end desk, nearest the tall stained glass window that glows even in moonlight. Tonight, he will begin the letter L, a grand initial to begin a psalm. He unrolls a calfskin parchment, carefully stretched and sanded smooth, and dips his quill into the Inca deep, glistening black made from oak galls and iron salts. The tip of the quill touches the parchment, and the scratching begins. Soft, steady, precise, every curve and stroke a meditation. The monks believe that each letter, when written with care and reverence, becomes a prayer, a way of drawing closer to the divine. And so, as Brother Thaddeus paints the golden flourish around the F, he breathes slow, eyes calm, heart open. The gold he uses is real true leaf, thinner than breath itself. He presses it with a soft squirrel hair brush onto the page, over a paste of garlic and honeyed jessamine. It clings there, shimmering in the candlelight like starlight trapped in a book. Outside, the wind turns over the trees. Leaves rustle like the turning pages of ancient folio. You can almost smell the parchment earthy, warm, tinged with the faintest trace of lavender oil they used to keep moths at bay. Brother Thaddeus pauses now and turns to a jar of lapis lazuli blue, so vivid it seems unearthly. Imported at great cost from the East, it's more precious than gold. He grinds a tiny bit between stone, mixing it with egg yolk and a drop of water until it becomes paint, thick of velveteen. He applies it gently with the tiniest brush, shaped from a single badger hair. The blue arcs across the margin, a ribbon of sky bloom in between words. Sometimes, in the quiet, monks claimed they could hear the colors as they touched the page. Gold whispered, red hummed, blue. Blue sang like a choir at Bethel. The fire crackles low behind him. Embers pop softly like distant rain on tile. Warmth wraps the room, even as chilled fingers curl along the stone. In this chamber, time feels different. Each moment stretches, softened by silence, smoothed by focus. The kind of quiet that slows the heartbeat, that eases the breath, that allows the mind to wander freely through memory, imagination, or nothing at all. The air smells of ink and bees. It smells of patience, of peace. Brother Thaddeus lays down another swirl of gold, brushing away the spare flecks with a soft sigh. And just above the page, a moth flutters near the flamit's wings like fragile paper, whispering in the hush. No one disturbs the scriptorium. It is a sacred space, yes, but also a cradle of dreams, a place where stories are born not in voices, but in symbols, where thoughts are given birth, where silence becomes scripture. You may feel your own thoughts now, growing slower, drifting softer, falling like petals through quiet air. Good. Let them settle like dust in sunbeams, like gold leaf on gesso. You are the parchment tonight, smooth open, waiting for peace to be painted into. Every breath, a letter, every heartbeat, an illumination. Brother Thaddeus continues his work, unaware that we are watching. That across time, across worlds, you're here beside him, listening, resting. And as he draws the final curl of the L, he leans back just a little. The candlelight gleams across his face, softening the years in his eyes. And he smiles, not for praise, not for recognition, but because in this moment, he has become the work, the ink, the brush, the life, and the breath between, just like you now, a soul resting in a golden letter. Yes, stay with me now. Let your breath remain slow, like the steady drip of melted wax. We're still in the scriptorium, still beside Brother Thaddeus. The hush remains unbroken. Only the fire murmurs, and the soft scratch of quill on vellum continues. Outside the window, moonlight glides over the cloister garden. You may imagine them, neatly tinted rows of rosemary, hyssop, and thyme. Their earthy perfume rising gently through the air, carried on the breeze like an old lullaby. Even the stones here feel sleepy, rounded with time, worn from centuries of quiet footsteps and whispered prayers. This is a place where nothing is rushed, where the sacred and the simple are the same. And every action, every stroke of ink is performed as though time itself were kneeling to watch. Brother Thaddeus turns a page in the great psalter. It creaks ever so slightly. The vellum thicker than paper, smooth beneath his fingertips. He dips his quill again. Not in black this time, but red. For these lines must stand up. Rubrics, the monks called them from the Latin rubrum, meaning red. In ancient times, these red instructions told the reader how to chant, when to pause, when to kneel. They're like breath marks in a song. And tonight, Thaddeus paints them with extra care, as though they might guide the very soul toward peace. The ink shimmers damply for a moment, then dries matte and soft against the page. In the far distance, a nightingale calls, its lullaby echoing faintly through the window slit. Even the birds seem to understand this silence. This reverend, Thaddeus smiles faintly again. He remembers faintly, like a dream owl. Years ago, as a young novice, he was first allowed into the scriptorium. He had touched the inks with trembling fingers, had watched his master, old brother Elric, paint a single illuminated capital with more tenderness than some give to a cradle. That was the moment he fell in love with silence, with sacred detail, with the beauty of words that lived forever. Now, he too is the elder. His hands are slower, yes, but steady. So steady, he reaches for the jar of shell gold. This gold is different from leopardespin, ground into a fine powder and suspended in gum arabic. It flows like paint, and as he lifts his brush, a tiny drop gleams on the tip, catching the flicker of the candlelight. With a breathless stillness, he paints a spiral of gold down the margin. The design flows from him with ease, a dance of ivy, of stars, of curling vines that would have grown straight from Eden. This isn't just art, it's devotion. It's peace made visible, and it's quiet. So quiet. Perhaps now, dear listener, your own thoughts have grown quieter too. Soft around the edges, gentle, like snowflakes landing on warm skin. Let them melt, let them drift. There's nothing to fix, nothing to change. Just the sound of quill and wrath and fire, and your own stillness. You may even imagine that you two are an Illuminator sitting in that glowing room, wrapped in a robe of wool, paintbrush in hand, gold dust on your fingertips. You press your hand to the parchment and begin. The letters you write are your dreams, the colors, your hopes, the spaces between the words, your quiet. You write slowly, reverently, as though each thought matters. Indeed, it does. For in this moment, time does not exist. Only the softness of now, the hush between candle flickers, the rhythm of your breath, the weightlessness of sleep approaching like a cloaked figure walking down a stone corridor, carrying a lantern, and you are ready. Brother Thaddeus lays down his brush. The page is complete. Its gold gleams like the halo of a saint. Its blues glow like the cloak of the sky. He closes his eyes. He does not speak aloud. But in his heart, he whispers a blessing, not just for the page, but for the reader who will someday see it, he prays. May this bring peace to any soul who looks upon it. That soul, dear one, might be you. So rest now. Let that blessing soak into your skin like ink into parchment. Let it cover you word by word, like a quiet spell. You are safe here in the scriptorium, with the fire, with the hush, with the gold letters and the silent monk. And as the candle burns lower, as sleep begins to lift you, the story fades like smoke. But the peace remains like gold in the margins of your dream. Still with me, dear listener? Good. Let us drift deeper now, slower, softer, into the hush between thoughts. You are lying there, perhaps beneath warm blankets, and the room around you is quiet, still, peaceful. As peaceful as the scriptorium. Let your breath stay long indeed, like a quill dipping into ink, filling, then releasing. Now imagine the monastery again, high in the hill, tucked beneath a sky of endless stars. A sky that has watched over this holy place for centuries. Silent, steady, vast. Inside, the fire has grown low. Coals glowing like embers pressed into velvet. Shadows stretched long and gentle across the stone floor. Brother Thaddeus stands. His knees creak slightly, the way old floorboards do in the winter. But his expression is peaceful. He has finished tonight's page. He bows gently before the desk. Not to the parchment itself, but to the act of creation, to the spirit that moves through still hands and silent hearts. He carries the finished folio to a shelf lined with velvet-wrapped tomes, each one hand-bound, stitched with linen thread, some too heavy to lift with one hand. He places the newest among them and lingers there a moment. Let your imagination follow him. See the covers worn, leathered warm to the touch, some etched with golden crosses, others with tiny pressed flowers between their pages, each one a fragment of memory, a whisper from long ago, and now, yours, to keep. He walks slowly through the darkened hall, his lantern casting a golden circle of light on the stones. The air smells of old wood, of wax and wine and pressed herb, and something older still, time itself, perhaps. As he passes a tall stained glass window, the moonlight shines through, coloring his robe with blue and crimson. You may imagine standing there beside him, hearing nothing but your footsteps and the tiny click of beads on his rosary as he walks. The monastery sleeps, but you do not feel alone. You feel held, like the pages in a bound book. Saved, still, part of something meaningful. Brother Thaddeus stops at the chapel door, not to enter, only to pause. Through the crack, you see the flicker of the sanctuary light. It's never allowed to go out. A symbol of eternal presence, soft and comforting. He murmurs a prayer in Latin, just a few syllables, a blessing over his work, over the night, and perhaps over you. Then he turns and disappears into the long hallway of cells. The lantern sways gently, and the door closes behind him with the quiets of clicks. Now, the scriptorium lies empty, but its peace remains. It floats in the air, in the parchment, in the golden dust that clings to the corners of the desk, And in your breath, you may imagine yourself there, alone in the scriptorium now, but not lonely. You sit at the desk, place your hand on the vellum, and feel the warmth of those who came before you, as though their prayers still live in the fiber, still shimmer in the gold, still echo in the hush. Outside, the night has deepened. A breeze rustles the ivy on the monastery wall. It whispers along the stones like a lullaby in a forgotten tongue. And in the sky, a star shoots silently across the heavens. Its light, older than the parchment in your hand. It's time to sleep now. You've written your letter. You've lit your lantern. You've let go of the day. You've come into the hush and become part of it. So rest. Let your breath soften. Let your thoughts float like golden ink in water. Let your limbs grow heavy, as if you are sinking slowly into a deep velvet cushion. One hand resting gently beside a page of illuminated dreams. And as the candle burns down to its wick, the gold dries. The ink sets, and your thoughts turn to sleep. The kind of sleep that feels like pages being closed gently, with reverence and love. The story is still with you. In the quiet, in the soft sound, in the spaces between words. And now, dear one, you may drift into your own dreams. Softly, safely, silently. You're doing beautifully. So still, so quiet. Exactly where you need to be. Let's linger here just a little longer, wrapped in candlelight, in golden ink, in the slow, sacred rhythm of peace. The monastery sleeps, the scriptorium rests. But you, dear listener, float between wakefulness and dreams. Let that in-between space stretch out, soft as linen, light as vellum. You are the breath between verses. You are the gold in the margin. You are the hush that comes when meaning has already been made. Can you hear it? The gentle echo of brush on parchment, the far-off toll of a single bell, marking a sacred hour. Perhaps, or maybe just a blessing meant only for you. Its tone is low, deep, and soft. You may feel it more than hear it, like a slow drum beat in the bones of the world. Even time has bowed its head here. Even the stars blink slower. And within your breath, the whole story continues. Somewhere in the hills, morning will come again. Brother Thaddeus will return to his desk. The fire will be stoked, the ink stirred. A new letter will bloom, perhaps a T or a G. And it will glisten with meaning, not because of the pigment, but because of the stillness that shaped it. And you will carry this quiet with you, wherever you go. When the world feels loud, remember this. When the mind grows restless, remember the breath of gold on parchment. And when your heart needs anchoring, think of that steady hand, that silent monk, that letter, blooming like a flower in the middle of a page. Now, slowly, ever so gently, begin to drift. Let the bed beneath you feel like carved wood warmed by firelight. Let the pillow cradle your head like folded robes. Let your hands unclink. Let your chest rise and fall like pages turned by wind. There is no rush. There is only ease and comfort and sacred stillness. Perhaps you imagine yourself now in your own quiet tower or tucked into the corner of the monastery's library. A book in your lap, lantern light dancing across the room. Your eyes slowly closing as words melt into dreams. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to release everything, even thoughts, even names, even time. Just float. Parchment on breath, like gold dust in air, like prayers in silence. And as the final flicker of candlelight curls upward into shadow, know this: you are part of a story that began long ago, carried by ink and light and silence. And that story, tonight, has been written gently into you. Sleep now. No need to turn another page. No need to hold on. The book is closed, the ink is dry, and the story has done its work. Good night, gentle soul. Sleep deeply, sleep kindly, sleep golden.